Hey everybody, it's Avi Tenenbaum from the Torah for Real People YouTube channel and WhatsApp group. To join, send an email to tfrpgroup@gmail.com. We hope to have a special Pesach episode coming out soon with a very unique guest, Be'ezras Hashem, so stay tuned. We hope that works out. Let me tell you a story that I think is very relatable and a symptom of very special things happening in Klal Yisrael. The future looks bright. I think this is really good. Hear me out. If you like this story, please hit the like button, share it in groups, share it with people that would appreciate it. Those things help the channel and help Klal Yisrael. I went to a gathering of people who were seeking inspiration after the two Pele boys died in the terrible terror attack a month ago in Yerushalayim. The two beautiful children, 8 and 6, died in a ramming attack. And the parents of the children of the Pele boys' school all got together with the older children of the school, and very special speakers came, and we were all seeking inspiration to grow and to see what to make of the event and what to do in order to honor the deceased children's legacy and make it a merit for their neshama. So part of the scheduled program that evening was a video was shown about Reb Chaim Kanievsky's life. And this is because Reb Chaim Kanievsky was so special to us in the whole world, and especially in Eretz Yisrael. And he died a year and a week ago, so his yahrzeit just happened. And somebody produced a mini documentary in Ivrit, and it was called Gems of Light in Ivrit. It was about 10 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer. And it had like 5 chapters. So each chapter was like a minute and a half long. And then they interjected within each chapter, before moving to the next chapter, the words of a famous upcoming Magid and Talmud Chacham in Israel. His name is Reb Shlomo Miller. He's full of energy. He's apparently American, by the way. Very special person, full of good, positive vibes, a very healthy outlook in Torah and in life. And every time all of the older children and the parents would hear a 1.5 minute segment of the inspirational life and times of Reb Chaim Kanievsky, whether we heard about the greatness of his prayer, the greatness of his Torah, the greatness of his mitzvah observance, whatever it was, suddenly a video was injected into that as a transition from the first chapter of the mini documentary to the second to the third to the fourth to the fifth, and you would see Reb Shlomo Miller jump up on screen and say the exact same thing 5 different times. What did he say? After every time you would hear a 1.5 minute dose of how great Reb Chaim Kanievsky was, and he used to learn 7 blot of Bavli and 7 blot of Yerushalmi and Rambam and Shulchan Aruch and Zohar every single day and Kabbalah, and he knew everything. Once he would hear a 1.5 minutes of that and see footage of him, and it was very inspirational, suddenly, Reb Shlomo Miller would show up on the screen and say the following message. He would say, God wants everyone to take one more step forward. For each person, that step is different. Everyone's holding in a different place. And what you could do, and what you can't do, and don't have to do. But just like Reb Chaim Kanievsky would always push himself one step forward, tza'ad achad kadima, so too, God wants from you to push yourself one step forward. And he would say this message 5 times throughout the mini documentary of Reb Chaim Kanievsky in exactly the same words, but it was filmed, as far as I can tell, 5 different times, the same words, the same message. And when the documentary was done, my kids were going bonkers, and we were in the car, and they said, Abba, why did Reb Shlomo Miller have to say the exact same message 5 times within 10 minutes in the middle of a video about Reb Chaim Kanievsky? That was just so annoying. What was the point of that? And I explained to them something that, unfortunately, is all too familiar to me and many people that I know. When we hear stories about great people, and they truly were great, if we don't receive the stories properly and interpret them in a healthy fashion, what happens is we project about ourselves, I'm a nobody I never got anywhere and I'm never gonna get anywhere. Reb Chaim Kanievsky, he was a good guy. Me, I'm a piece of trash. That's what a lot of young people possibly will hear when they watch a mini documentary about Reb Chaim Kanievsky, when they read books or stories about the Chazon Ish and how much he used to learn until he would drop on the floor, and all the great, incredible stories in the Precious of Reb Steinman and how he used to sit on an orange crate and he had nothing in his house and he was the happiest person. And here I am wanting hamburgers and fries and beating myself up for it because I'm a gashmiistic, a piece of garbage. I'm a nobody. I don't know anything. I'm not striving to get anywhere. I have no accomplishments to show for myself. And Reb Shlomo Miller, this wonderful Magid, I think he lives in Modi'in, Elite in Kiryat Sefer, he anticipated that's what young people and older people like me are going to hear. In the Lashon HaKodesh term, this is called Chalishos Hadas, or Yeush. People are going to hear great stories about Reb Chaim Kanievsky and have Chalishos Hadas and Yeush. And instead of being inspired, they're going to be despired. I don't know if that's a word, I just made it up, and I'm going to try to look that up afterwards. They will be despired, right? They're going to walk away worse off watching a video about Reb Chaim Kanievsky than not watching it. And that's not good. And so Reb Shlomo Miller was translating the messages of inspiration about the greatness of Reb Chaim Kanievsky for each person. And he was saying, when you hear how Reb Chaim Kanievsky learned 14 blat of Gemara a day and knew everything, and you barely understand Shir, and once a month you understand like a little bit of Shir, and you feel like a complete failure, don't worry. Don't panic. You're not worthless. All God wants from you is what he wanted from Reb Chaim. It's the same thing. There's one common denominator between you and Reb Chaim Kanievsky. There's not a lot of similarities between us, but there's one similar thing that he did that you can do too, and that is to push yourself one tiny step forward and to do your best. And what you can do, and what you can't do, you can't do. And that was literally the message we heard 5 times. It was coming out of our ears. So thank God my sons didn't need to hear that message, so it just annoyed them. It was burdensome to them. Okay, but you know what? A lot of us had to hear that message, and I knew exactly why Reb Shlomo Miller was saying it and who he was addressing. And that's all God wants from us as well. Everyone is in a different place. Everyone is holding in a different situation. They grew up in different circumstances, and we're always doubting ourselves constantly, beating ourselves up so badly that we're never going to get anywhere, we're not doing enough, and nothing that we do counts. One other person was at this event, and he was a superstar. He hit a home run. His name is Reb Shimon Galai, and I heard his name many times. I've never met him before in person until 2 nights ago. I actually asked him for a bracha. I was so inspired. He really was a larger-than-life personality, and I understood, once I met him, why there's so much hype about him. And he gave a talk at the same event, and this was his message. He said, if you look in the beginning of Mesilas Yesharim, everyone knows the first words of Mesilas Yesharim. It says, Yisoid HaChasidus v'shoyrosh ha'avoda ha'tmima hu, she'izbarer v'yis'ames etzel ha'adam ma choy v'soy ba'olam moy. Yes, I remembered that by heart from when I was 16. Yes, and it's still in my head at this age. The Ramchal in Mesilas Yesharim says, everyone's job in this world is to figure out ma choy v'soy ba'olam moy. What is his duty in his world? So all the Bali Musar ask, so it's not Reb Shimon Galai being mechadish this, it's not his novelty message, but he was bringing this down in such a genuine way. The Bali Musar say, why does the Mesilas Yesharim say, everyone's job is to figure out what is their job in their world? What's this emphasis on their job in their world? What's the point of those words? The answer is that everyone has a different world. You have your world, I have my world. This is what Reb Shimon Galai said. You have your way that you grew up, I have my way that I grew up, your seminary experience, my yeshiva experience. Everyone has more money, more parents, less parents, learning problems, not learning problems. Everybody's different. But everybody has to do their duty in their world, and that's all that's expected of you, but that's what's expected of you. So let's stop beating ourselves up and comparing ourselves to everybody else and feeling that we're worthless and we're never going to get anywhere because, we don't look on paper like the other person. And we don't have the same accomplishments to show on paper like the other person. But that's not your job, says Reb Shimon Galai. Your job is chayvasai ba'ilamai, to do your duty in your situation. You know what I said to some people recently, and this is me talking now, not Reb Shimon Galai. There are some beautiful, from people I know, you know what their biggest mitzvah is? It's to get through the day. It's to stay alive and not kill themselves. It's to stay off of drugs. That's their mitzvah. So Reb Shimon Galai, going back to him, said, everybody has chayvasai ba'ilamai, their job in their world. That's all God expects of you, and that's your duty. Let's stop trying to do other people's duty. To quote Oscar Wilde, stop being everyone else has already taken, right? So Reb Shimon Galai said, be yourself. Do your job for God. Then he expects of you within your circumstances. Okay, and I've said this story many times with Reb Tzvi Meyer Zilberberg, that he yelled at me and said, the only way, Avi, that you are going to be great is to do what God wants from you with your set of circumstances, your problems, your limitations, your weaknesses, right? I've said that many times in the channel. That's our job. And Reb Shimon Galai said, there's a medrash, I think he said it's in Parshas Vayeshev. I didn't yet have the chance to look it up. But the medrash says that when God wanted to give the Torah, Moshe was there, Aaron was there, the Shivim Skenim, the 70 elders were there, everybody was there. Well, the great people, the famous people, the people you'd put on the wall of your sukkah, the Gedolim, the Tzaddikim, they were there. But there was a lot of simple people not there. And God said, I cannot give this Torah until every last Jew is there. Because every single person has a job. This is what Reb Shimon Galai said. Every single person has a unique job and duty for me and for my Torah in this world to accomplish. And with all due respect to Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen and the 70 elders, if the simplest person and the complex person and all the people in between, wherever their backgrounds are, if they're not here to hear the Torah and do their jobs and their contribution, then the plan of the world and my will is not complete. We all have a different job. We all have a different background. We're coming from a different place, different struggles, different Yetzer Hara, different thoughts and belief system and rabbeim and strengths and weaknesses and whatever it is. Our job is to do our duty. My duty in my world, your duty in your world. And when we're not so harsh anymore, suddenly we become aligned with our own reality more so. And when we become more aligned with our own reality, that's when we thrive. And that goes back to Reb Shlomo Miller. You can hear all about Reb Chaim Kanievsky and read every Gadol book, and you'll just walk away depressed unless you understand properly how to be inspired. These people made the best out of what they had, and that's what's expected of you, to make the best out of what you have. And to quote Reb Shlomo Miller one last time and end this video, Tza'ad echad kadima. God wants from you one step forward. He just wants from you one step forward. What you can do, and what you can't do, you can't do. And that's that. He said that message 5 times. It was coming out of our ears, and I hope it's coming out of your ears too. Please hit the like button. Please share this video. It can help so many other Yidden. It's a beautiful story. It's an important lesson that we all have to hear over and over and over. Thank you guys. Wishing you a beautiful day.